Been a while.
Hey Harry, how you doing?
Good, man. Good, Seth. So thanks for bringing me on and time to catch up. Real
Yeah,
estate talk.
definitely real estate talk. Everybody's jumping on talking about last year, 2023, this year, 2024. Just wanted to bring you on. Some of you may know Harry Bennett with Equity Reach Mortgage. Um, we do a handful of these videos last year, and we're gonna look forward to do some more this year. But we wanted to jump on, just kind of talk about the crazy uh, rates of 2023. And I know there's no crystal ball. There's really no crystal ball,
Yeah.
silver bullet answer for this year, but just wanted to chat about it a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, so I mean, we've seen some improvement on the rates, and every day it feels like you're holding your breath underwater, wondering what's the next headline coming out, jobs report, CPI
Yeah,
report.
yeah.
It's so fragile right now. But we have seen a reduction since towards the end of the year. So rates are continuing to improve. I mean, for first-time home buyer programs like Calhafa, the rates are actually still pretty, they're pretty good compared to where they were a few months ago, right? So we've seen some improvements. Hopefully we'll continue to see some more improvements as we get towards March and April.
So right now um, we're basically the same. Like it spiked summer to like early fall, and then it started like in November, kind of slowly coming back down, right?
Mhm.
Um, it seems like we're kind of like in that last fall kind of range of rate, average like 6.8 or some average like that. But it's interesting for me on the realtor side because it seems like the buyers they're out in more full force than they were even like at the end of the summer, because they're
Yeah.
half a point down, or it's
Hey,
like,
and that's the thing, is like, when you start seeing the interest rates come down, this is what everyone was talking about. Like, hey, back when the rates were a little bit higher, say they were in the mid sevens or low sevens, right?
hmm,
That's where it was, if you could afford to buy the home at that point in time, you're having a lot less competition. So your offer is standing out even further. You have a little bit more leverage. As soon as the interest rates start going down, it excites people, realtors, lenders, everyone starts talking about interest rates. It's a very interesting subject, a lot around it. People get excited, they start looking for a home right away.
mm-hmm.
And that's when you enter in a lot more buyers and a lot more competition.
Yeah, the rate hasn't been this, the average hasn't been this high since like 2001, right? Like around 2000,
It's been a
2001.
challenging.
But
Yeah,
it's
don't
also
remind us.
it's also been, leading up to like 2006, 2007, before the last crash was, the rates were getting higher. They were like 5%, right around there. And home values were still like appreciating a lot back then. So it's kind of a similar, like the data kind of looks similar on paper, but it's a lot different. Seems like there's, between now and then, a lot less homes selling. I think Atascadero in general is like 30% less homes sold 2023 versus 2022, almost 100 houses um, down in terms of how many transactions there were in Atascadero alone. And I think 26% is kind of like the California average for reduction in
Well, I
transactions.
imagine too that the amount of listings available is also significantly down.
Yeah, for
So
sure. Yeah.
and it's because obviously people are hunkering down. They're not, the affordability is a real deal, right?
Well,
And the
and the
interest
median
rates.
the median hasn't really changed much. I mean, 6% is
Yeah.
not a huge amount. So like the value didn't decrease with less, but it didn't go up like crazy either. It just maintained. Um, but it's interesting. I'm not going to ask you what do you think is going to happen in 2024. I mean, you can give me your opinion, but I
Yeah,
think it's
I've
kind of,
no, I don't mind giving out opinions, because
yeah,
it's an opinion. It's not
yeah.
a like, let's sign up for the mortgage today and we'll refinance you in 6 months. I never say that. It's
No, for
always,
sure. I
it would
guess,
be wonderful if my opinion was correct, and if it is, then hopefully I can get some news light here. No, but
I think what I was kind of tongue in cheek is that when you go like on YouTube where this video is going to be, and everybody's like, what's going to happen in 2024? And then these like thumbnails of burning houses and like these like graphs going down.
The bubble.
And,
I mean, how many times have you heard about the bubble pop, right?
Yeah.
You know, the bubble talk was all
since
through
COVID.
Yeah, since COVID.
Yeah.
It was heavily talked about in 2022 and even more in 23 when they started cranking these rates up even further.
Yeah.
They just the values still held strong. So I feel like with it being a presidential election year, that being said, and the direction, the comments right from the Fed of that they want to, they're not eagerly saying we're going to be, like next month we're going to start cutting down, right? It's a very like they're looking at it a lot more closely than ever about maybe do we go ahead and start it now, or do we wait until August, September, October, right? So I still feel my opinion would be March, April is going to maybe be a good time to start seeing more significant rates, but could be wrong.
I got a dog in the fight this year too, because I'm selling a house and I'm buying a house, hopefully. So
there we go.
It's like 2024 is a very important year for me. I haven't bought a house, a primary residence, since 2018. So I'm even though I'm a realtor and I'm always watching the market, definitely watching the rates and watching the values is pretty important to me this year for sure.
Even more. Yeah. No kidding.
So March and April, that'd be great. I mean, we're looking to maybe list in March sometime. So that'd be awesome if there's a little bit more purchasing power put in the buyer's hands.
I mean, we'll see. Like with the jobs report, like that's another big piece, right? If the Fed, they start seeing more jobs being lost or less job creations being put out there, they're going to be in a position where they have to make some type of a move, right? Or they let it continue go, and then obviously inflation will come down even faster. But they have a responsibility also to have like that good middle ground. That's where they want a 2% inflation. They want to keep jobs, people working, right? That's how our society functions. So if the job losses continue to rise, they're going to want to pull the trigger faster rather than sitting on it for too long, because you could go too far where now you really have to stimulate the economy to get jobs created again for people to go back to work.
Right. Yeah. So we shall see. It's a matter of like I kind of wanted to get your opinion, your feel, because you're in the mortgage industry. I mean, I just know like how people are moving through showings, how many listings are coming on the market now versus other typical Januaries. Are you in the mortgage industry? Are you seeing more people, like a trend towards more people looking for mortgages than say last year?
Yes, as far this month, last year, December versus last year, December, absolutely. There's definitely been more of an uptick, more phone calls, more of interest, more consultations happening in December and January. And we're only the 10th day into January, right? And we've already seen, me personally, I've already seen more activities for pre-approvals. People want to know, hey, how much can I afford now? Because now I've heard that rates are coming down a bit. It automatically sparks their interest to want to have that curiosity. Where are they at? Seeing more first-time home buyers, have some more questions with, qualification pieces. So that has been a little bit more of an uptick. And also for reverse mortgages, right? People who, they have built up a lot of credit card debts. We've seen a little more interest on that side too, about trying to their whole financial picture, right? How much debts that they currently have, and potentially doing some type of either a second mortgage or a reverse second or consolidation loan has been a little bit more of an interest, I'd say.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
it's definitely something that I'm looking forward to seeing what happens the next few months. I don't know with the election year. I can give a little insight into in terms of market too. You know, my other business is the painting company, is a home improvement business, and it's been a pretty busy January in terms of like lead flow.
Okay, that's
I could
good.
attribute some of that to, you know, our marketing efforts, but typically it's not like it's pretty high demand for this time of year. And it's so typically that kind of goes hand in hand with people's sentiments about the market, about the stock market, about their housing market, about people
Yeah.
buying houses, and people closing escrow, needing work done, and spending the money on like getting their house painted. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Like last January was slow as
It
molasses.
was, yeah, definitely. Last January, last December was like, people were waiting for, you know, it was a ghost town. It was
Yeah.
definitely a lot slower. What do you think? What's your opinion for 2024 coming up? What do you think with interest rates, home values? What's your
My
thoughts?
opinion,
Yeah.
I just joke around like it's like if I had the answer, then I could literally go make a bunch of money on like, you know, in Vegas or the stock market if I could predict the future like that. But it's
Yeah.
like I think that home values are going to remain the same. Especially, I mean, I'm pretty hyper focused right now on uh Tascadero and surrounding area of the Atascadero in general, the market. And I just can't see home values coming down because our inventory is so low. Our transaction count of like in the 30s transactions a month. There's not a lot like being offered in Atascadero, and our home price is going to stay about the same. Interest rates, you know, I have no idea. I don't really. I could wager a guess that it might be 1% less in the by July, August, which is like probably what I'm hoping for. And I just can't see it going back up. So it's got to come down. If it does go back up, um, you know, like I said, I don't profess to know anything about like
Yeah.
economic forces or whatever, but I would wager a guess that it's coming down a little bit. But
Yeah, but you're
I'm more
local, you're
focused on,
here. Yeah.
yeah, I'm more focused on the home prices are going to remain very steady. Uh,
Honestly, I think you will. I think we will see like about a 4 or 5% increase. I mean, me personally on home values. I feel like that's,
so more than just the standard 3%, you know,
yeah. I mean,
yeah,
the amount of inventory, unless the inventory starts flooding, right?
yeah,
And now, obviously, if there's a lot of job losses, right now, I do consider Central Coast a part of, not a part of, like, it's not in the middle of Kansas somewhere, it's not in the middle of Wyoming somewhere, not saying that those aren't maybe some strong markets out there.
yeah,
We are in a little bit of a unique spot in California. Look where
yeah.
we live. Look at the type, like you have retirees, boomers, right? That are cashing out. They land here.
Well, we
They
definitely bucked the trend from the rest of the country in terms of like the
certainly,
last 10 months, 11 months. We definitely
yeah,
bucked the trend. I mean, we're only got 6% down on medium price from the year before. I don't, you know, I don't disagree with you. I'm just careful to think that, but I do know that for instance, like we have a like a fixer upper in Los Osos that's for Los Osos 529 is a pretty
yeah.
affordable for especially a fixer upper.
It's not that
And
much of a fixer upper too. It's a pretty good. I mean, it's a nice.
well, it needs, you know, it needs work, you know,
Yeah,
but you could live in it. There's no leaky roof and all the plumbing and electrical works, and you can live in it.
yeah,
There's heat, but it's definitely a fixer. You know, it is what it is. But like there were 16 showings over the weekend, and that's like just to show you like certain price points. There's like so many people that are like going for it. That's like what I can afford with this interest rate. That's what I
yeah.
can do. That's what I can do. You know, we're seeing a lot of that, and a lot of investors trying to come in and lowball it as well. But so when you're the demand just right there just goes to show like every 20 minutes my showing time ping on my phone was going off, new showing, new showing, new showing, new showing.
Wow.
So the demand is there for certain price points like crazy. So
Well, that also is because you did list it appropriately,
yeah.
right? You listed it correctly, and that's a big piece that if a seller's considering listing a home today,
Yeah.
especially today, you have to really go with an agent that can guide you on the appropriate list price
Right.
to, protect them, right? They still want to get the most money they can, but also you want to get offers coming in,
Yeah.
right? And you can pick the best one from there, and hopefully you have a little bit of a bidding war where
Hmm.
you don't know exactly how much to put down,
Hmm.
so that comes from, obviously you and Karen having, a good touch on the market.
Yeah, definitely. There was some pretty good comps for it. There's similar size homes in the same neighborhood that were, closer to 180 to 100,000 more, but they were turnkey, like, so there were good comps for it. And I know that Los
Yep.
Osos is a desirable area in Baywood. So we kind of, we do our homework for sure. I mean, any good realtor should and probably does. Just as I know you guys are on the ball with everything you do. And it's like, I I just I'm hoping that I wouldn't say in my opinion, but I'm hoping that the rate comes down 1.5% this year, and that it'll
That's so
free up
nice.
it'll free up a lot of awesome people that are wanting to buy a house that are struggling with it.
Yeah,
So we can take
absolutely.
care
I
of a
mean,
lot of clients, and that everybody wins. I mean, even the you know the the governments win, everybody wins. The people get a house, but people sell a house, people help them sell a house, people help them get a mortgage. I mean, the
yeah.
the economy keeps
Well, when you
turning.
say it that way, Seth,
Yeah,
and your loaf of bread becomes $5,
yeah.
$2,
I should work for the
which
Fed,
it was a dollar,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's, hopefully it would be incredible to see, the, mid fives rate would be, but again, you're entering into territories where it's going to get really competitive again,
Yeah.
so now is a
At
great.
certain price points. I mean, I remember like
Sure.
2021, it was like anything up to 850 or 9 was just like flying off the shelf, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Once you get over north of a million, it becomes people become more discerning and they take their time, and there's not as much of a frenzy of who's going to buy it. Around here. You go to
Mhm.
San Diego, like my dad's neighborhood, a random house that looks like just your average typical house is like selling for 1.1 off the shelf one day on the market. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. But if you're here on the Central Coast, north of a million, it just you're not going to get as much of like a
Yeah, you have a little bit less foot
yeah
traffic for
yeah.
sure. Less people can qualify for the payment. Um, so yeah, there's that to consider. I mean, like also, I have a client right now.
I'm hoping there's a lot of demand for the house I'm selling, and there's not a lot of demand for what I'm looking to
Yeah,
buy. So
that would be a perfect
hopefully
recipe.
between March and like August, Karen and I can like get both of them done and like be like on the winning side of both of those
Yeah, that would be
transactions.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, like, like right now I have a client, they're looking at that 1.2 range. They
Uh-huh.
went to an open house over the weekend in Napomo. It was, listed a little over, it was almost listed at 1.2. It was so busy. The realtor called me and said there was just tons and tons of people there. Tons as in maybe about 10 to 15 people. When I say tons, that's a kind of a lot for the first day. People are waiting outside, waiting to get in. But maybe that particular property. I mean, again, every property is just going to be so different, as like, that realtor could have had a strategy of listing it a little bit lower to create a lot of excitement, right? A lot of people wanting to look at it.
Yeah.
But I was a little shocked when he said that there was quite a bit of people looking at this particular home, and at that price point, because you're right, usually around that price range, it's not that competitive too much. It just depends. It really does depend.
Yeah. And that it's also there was another like statistic that kind of like I say, like in Atascadero, like my hyper local market is like the days on market was less, even with less inventory than the year before and higher interest rates. So in 2023 versus 2022, like we're talking like 8 days less.
Wow.
So on average, and so there's still buyer demand, and it's there, so maybe the houses that were being listed were more um, in demand. Like people knew that like, hey, I need to sell this house. Someone with a higher interest rate or someone's going to buy it regardless. There's not so many um like list and sit kind of homes, that
Hmm.
are not going to sell as easy. Like
Yeah.
there's a house I was detoured on my way home from the gym this morning, and I went past this house. I won't say where it is, but it's listed for sale. And then right next door is like a pack rat lives. The whole driveway's filled with trash and junk, and like the house that they're selling looks really nice. And I'm like, man, that house is gonna sit there for a while. But
Yeah.
it's like you. That's kind of a side tangent, but I was just like feeling really sorry for the home seller there, because it's gonna be a tough one. But
Yeah.
so houses, they're in 2023 less of an inventory in Atascadero, but less days on market as well. So it's being more of like people are more prudent and more what do you call it? They're curating like what they're when they're
Yeah,
when
you're
they're
burning
selling.
up what you have. Yeah, so it's not lasting. It's not sitting on there for, that's what I was telling somebody when they were asking like, hey, what's the average, you know, house that's sold? Like how quick is it gone? I said, honestly, if it's priced right, under it's 2 weeks or under. Like
Yeah.
that's typically what I see. If that house is sitting longer than 2 weeks in our area, you know, that is a little bit longer than the normal, right?
Yeah.
Other house, like if they're priced appropriately, most people do price their house pretty competitively. It's gone usually within 2 weeks,
Yeah.
especially in like a Napomo. There's not really much inventory.
For sure. I gotta keep my bead on my MLS down there. For a while there, I was looking at houses down there, and recently I've just been like completely focused on Atascadero. And like this is like all I'm looking at really.
Oh, just a Atascadero
Well,
mostly.
just because I'm leading up to selling our house here, and so like I've been
Oh,
really
you're
focused on
hyper
the
focused on it right now, for
yeah.
sure. For
Not
sure.
not
Yeah.
all the time, but just right now I'm really like we're going to open houses that are similar. We want to see like what the comps are, what they look like inside. And we went to a really nice one this past weekend. It was a very new home, like probably 10 years old, and on San Ynez, and it was a nice
How
open
much was
house.
that one
They
listed at?
already 750 or
Okay.
725, 730, but it already had like 3 offers like within
Wow.
the realm of the list price. And so they were going for multiple counter, and it was only on the market for 2 days.
Wow.
But it was very nice, like very well taken care of, and only 10 years old, kind of near the high school. So
Okay.
there's really cool there's really cool opportunities out there still, but they're competitive. I mean, that was competitive, you know.
Yeah,
So
it did. Like I said, it really just depends how much, where you're going to list that property at. And if the realtor is doing a good job and explaining like, hey, this is where, even if you list it a little lower than where you think it's going to be at,
mhm.
chances are you're going to get more activity, more overbidding, and then no one knows where to land.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
it makes it tough for the buyer's agent.
Yeah. But I think I mean, wider prediction for the next 3-4 years, I think Atascadero is going to increase in value as it's sort of like the hub of it's like the hub of a wheel. Everything's 20 minutes from Atascadero. Cal Poly's 15 minutes away once you jump on the freeway.
Yeah.
Paso Wine Country's 15 minutes away. Morro Bay's 20 minutes away. It's kind of like right in the middle of like North County, San
Yeah.
Luis.
It's a great spot.
And it's like the last bastion of affordability without going all the way to the far end, like Paso or San Miguel. So you're kind of like still in the middle, a lot of trees, a lot of nature, feeling like you're in the country sometimes, relatively clean city. There's lots of different shopping opportunities, bars, restaurants that are growing. I really think Atascadero is going to become really nice, really nice like continual upgrade.
Oh, for sure.
But
Absolutely. Yeah. Tassero definitely probably the best bang for your buck, I would say.
yeah.
Out there right now. That if you're looking in South County, it gets pretty pricey throughout all of South County. Maybe if you go like northern Santa Barbara County, Santa Maria, Guadalupe, you could probably find some more bang for your buck out that way. But it's tough, to finding that growth spot where like if you like Atascadero, I think it would be a good growth spot for,
Yeah.
like you said, the next few years for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we've been here. Our first house was 2014. And just there's been 10 years has been like so much difference in like everything. I mean,
So how much did you buy your home for? Or do you not
um
want to say?
it was a condo. It's like a 3-bedroom condo. I think 260 or something like
Okay.
that, somewhere around there. Um, and that one's probably worth like 440 right now, 430 a condo. That's the comp. So a few of them sold recently. Ours is in pretty good shape. It was renovated in 2014, like all new inside.
Okay.
So it's 10 years since the last renovation. And since then we've painted it, we've put new carpet in, it's a rental of ours now still.
Okay.
But that was the first house that Karen and I bought. We lived there for 4 years. And now we've moved on. But yeah, so we love Atascadero. We've called it home for 10 years. I've lived here for 12, but we've owned a house here for 10 years.
Okay.
And we love it. I mean, we're going to go, when we sell our house, we'll move to Templeton to one of our rentals for a little bit while we look for a home, but we're looking to buy our forever home here at Atascadero. So that's hopefully what we're doing this summer.
That's so awesome. I mean, what a great story though. Like you kind of house hacked it a bit. You got your first one as a primary residence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got, how many properties do you own now?
So we have the condo, and then we have the house we live in, and then we have a duplex in Templeton, and then we have the office I'm sitting in as a commercial condo that we bought.
Okay.
And then we have a vacant piece of land that's going to be for some sort of commercial development, a couple acres here in Atascadero. It's more of an investment, but yeah. So that's what we've been doing. Karen and I we love real estate. We love home improvement. We love our town, and I've been being involved in like the chamber and in Rotary and all the different volunteer things that we do around here. We're heavily invested in this town doing well financially, and so that's why I love focusing here in Atascadero. Operating the whole county, but having home base here in Atascadero, we really like it a lot. We like the seasonality of it and everything. Yeah.
Strap it down, man. Put the stamp on it. It's the future truth. Number one realtor in Atascadero.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
just
go out and say
right?
we're looking to grow, and we're gonna be there. We're getting market share, and we just know that we have an insatiable desire to like help people like with their goals. And I don't know if you can find a harder working person than my wife, Karen. And I think that when you give us a task and you give us someone to take care of, we go full bore. And I'm not trying to make this a commercial about us, but
no, but
I believe if you don't say it, it doesn't happen.
Exactly. And I will say, to this date, right, Karen has represented a client. We had a mutual client that purchased with Karen. Mm-hmm. She was representing them on the buyer side. To this date, I have never had anybody else get so much seller credit other than that one transaction. And then when you did right after, right, you also had a lot of seller credit that you were able to help out, get the buyer a smoking interest rate. That, I mean, even today, you can't get that interest rate today, right? So you helped them with that. Karen helped that client get a really good interest rate from a seller credit. I mean, that family only came in with a down payment. That is it. Just their down payment. Mind you, the down payment on this property was, I think it was like 10 or 15% down. That was the total minimum investment. That's what he brought in, not a penny more. He actually got a refund, I remember, at close of escrow for the appraisal, right? Because it was all credited by the seller, which was amazing. And they also purchased out the mortgage insurance as well. So it was an incredible job. So yeah, absolutely. So if she has a client that, if you're out there looking, Peek team would be an amazing realtor to team up with for sure.
Well, likewise with you. This sounds like a good note to end on. We always enjoy doing business with you, Harry, and your team over at Equity Reach. But with that, I think this is a good time to sign off. We've had a great conversation. I look forward to our next chat. And maybe we can do some like market analysis of some live listings next time we chat. It's always fun.
Love that. All right, man. Take care.
All right. Thanks a lot, man.